The scrape of metal against paint sounded like a gunshot in the dead silence. Liam Carter stood frozen in the empty parking lot at 4:47 a.m., staring at the gash he'd just carved into a midnight blue Porsche. His hands trembled. No witnesses. No cameras he could see. Just him, his dying Honda, and a mistake that could cost more than he'd earn in 6 months. He had $43 in his account and a 4-year-old son sleeping in a cold apartment across town. Walk away, and no one would ever know. Stay, and he'd drown. If you want to see how one decision changed everything, stay with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Liam's breath came out in visible puffs. October mornings in the city were brutal, the kind that crept through your jacket and settled in your bones. He'd been pulling a double shift at the warehouse, stacking boxes for 9 hours, then cleaning the floors until his back screamed. The overnight rate paid an extra $2 an hour. $2 he desperately needed. He looked at the damage again. A long, jagged scratch along the passenger door, deep enough that primer showed through. The Porsche gleamed even under the sickly yellow parking lot lights, every curve designed to whisper money. Liam's Honda Civic, parked beside it, looked like something dragged out of a junkyard. The comparison wasn't lost on him. His phone buzzed. A text from Mrs. Chen, his neighbor who watched Noah when Liam worked nights. He's still sleeping. Take your time. Liam closed his eyes. Noah. 4 years old, with his mother's dark curls and a laugh that could pull Liam back from the edge of anything. The reason he worked doubles, the reason he skipped meals, the reason he was standing in this parking lot at all instead of collapsed in bed. Just go, he muttered to himself. No one saw. Just go. But his feet wouldn't move. His father's voice rose up from somewhere deep. You teach a boy who you are by what you do when no one's looking. Frank Carter had been a hard man, not given to softness, but he'd lived by a code. Liam had spent his 20s trying to prove he didn't need that code, that the world rewarded hustle and cleverness, not some outdated sense of honor. Then Emma left. Then the bills piled up. Then he learned what it meant to be alone with a child who depended on him completely. He pulled out his phone and opened the Notes app. His hands shook. From cold or fear, he wasn't sure. Sorry about your car. I scraped it pulling out. I don't have much, but I'll pay for the damage. Liam Carter. He added his phone number. He read it twice, deleted the last sentence, added it back. Finally, he screenshotted it, then scribbled the same message on the back of a gas station receipt he found crumpled in his pocket. He tucked it under the Porsche's windshield wiper, the paper fluttering in the wind. Then he sat in his car for a full minute, staring at the note. Idiot, he whispered. He drove home in silence, the radio broken for 3 months now. The streets were still empty, just the occasional garbage truck and a few bleary-eyed runners. His apartment was on the 4th floor of a building that smelled like fried onions and mildew. The elevator had been out of order since July. Liam climbed the stairs slowly, every step a reminder of the shift he'd just finished. Mrs. Chen opened her door before he could knock. She was 72, barely 5 feet tall, and had a habit of knowing things before you said them. Long night? She asked. Yeah. He was good, ate his dinner, brushed his teeth, asked for you twice before bed. Liam swallowed the lump in his throat. Thanks, Mrs. Chen. I'll have the money for you Friday. She waved him off. Friday. Next Friday. I'm not worried. But Liam was. He owed her for 3 weeks of babysitting. Noah was asleep in Liam's bed, curled around a stuffed dinosaur named Spike. Liam stood in the doorway, watching the rise and fall of his son's small chest. The apartment was freezing. The landlord had promised to fix the heat. That was 2 weeks ago. Liam grabbed a blanket from the closet and draped it over Noah, then collapsed onto the couch. He didn't bother changing out of his work clothes. Sleep pulled him under in seconds. The call came at 11:23 a.m. Liam jolted awake, disoriented. Noah was sitting on the floor watching cartoons on Liam's cracked phone. The sound was off. Noah knew the rule. Don't wake Dad unless it's an emergency. The phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Liam's stomach clenched. He almost didn't answer. Bill collectors had been circling for months. Hello? Is this Liam Carter? The voice was female, smooth, precise. Yeah, who's this? This is Ava Bennett. You left a note on my car this morning. Liam sat up too fast. His vision swam. Right. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I'll pay for it. I just need a little time to. How much time? He hesitated. How much would it even cost? 500? 1,000? I don't know. A few months, maybe? I can do payments. There was a pause. Where do you work, Mr. Carter? I'm at Fletcher Warehouse, night shift, mostly. And how much do you make? Liam bristled. Why does that matter? I'm trying to understand your situation. My situation is I can barely keep the lights on, but I'm going to pay you back. I don't care how long it takes. Another pause, longer this time. I believe you. Liam blinked. What? I believe you'll try, but I have a better idea. Her tone shifted, became almost businesslike. I'm the COO of Bennett Global Consulting. We have an opening in our operations department. Entry-level position. It pays $48,000 a year plus benefits. Liam's brain stuttered. What? You're honest. That's rare. I'd like to offer you a job. You don't even know me. I know you stopped in an empty parking lot to take responsibility for something you could have walked away from. That tells me more than a resume. Lady, I don't have a college degree. I barely finished high school. Do you show up on time? Yeah. Can you follow instructions? Yeah. Can you learn quickly? Liam glanced at Noah, who was watching him with wide, curious eyes. Yeah. Then you're qualified. The interview is tomorrow at 2. Bennett Global, 15th floor. Don't be late. She hung up before he could respond. Liam stared at the phone. Noah tilted his head. Who was that, Daddy? I don't know. The next afternoon, Liam stood outside a glass tower in the financial district, wearing the only dress shirt he owned. It had a coffee stain on the cuff. He tried to scrub it out that morning, but it didn't budge. The lobby was all marble and steel, the kind of place where people wore shoes that cost more than his rent. A security guard gave him a visitor's badge and pointed him toward the elevators. Liam's hands were sweating. The 15th floor was worse. Open concept office, floor-to-ceiling windows, everyone moving with the kind of confidence that came from never wondering if they'd make rent. A receptionist with perfect hair smiled at him. You must be Mr. Carter. Miss Bennett is expecting you. He was led down a hallway to a corner office. The door was open. Ava Bennett sat behind a sleek desk, typing on a laptop. She looked up when he entered, and Liam felt his breath catch. She was younger than he expected, early 30s maybe. Dark hair pulled back, sharp features, eyes that looked like they missed nothing. She wore a black blazer, no jewelry except a simple watch. There was something unreadable about her, like she existed behind glass. Mr. Carter, sit. He sat. She closed the laptop and leaned back, studying him. Tell me about yourself. There's not much to tell. Try. Liam shifted. I'm 32. I've got a son, Noah. He's 4. I work nights at a warehouse. Before that, I did construction, landscaping, whatever paid. Why the warehouse? Hours work with my schedule. I need to be home when Noah's awake. Where's his mother? The question landed like a slap. Liam's jaw tightened. Gone. Ava didn't flinch. Gone how? She left, 2 years ago. Decided she didn't want to be a mom anymore. He hated how bitter he sounded. I see. Ava made a note on a pad of paper. What's your biggest weakness, Mr. Carter? I don't have a degree. I'm not good at office stuff. I don't know how to talk like... He gestured vaguely at the room. Like this. And your biggest strength? I don't quit. She almost smiled. Almost. Why should I hire you? I don't know, Liam said honestly. You probably shouldn't, but I'll work harder than anyone else you've got. And I won't lie to you. Ever. Ava set down her pen. The position is in operations. You'll be coordinating logistics, managing schedules, interfacing with vendors. It's not glamorous. You'll be working with people who have Ivy League degrees and family money. They'll look down on you. Some of them will make your life difficult just because they can. Are you prepared for that? I've had worse. I doubt that. Liam met her eyes. Try me. For the first time, Ava's expression shifted. Something like curiosity. You start Monday, 8 a.m. Don't be late. That weekend, Liam bought Noah new shoes. Not from the thrift store, real ones, from an actual store. Noah wore them to the park and ran circles around the playground, shouting, "Look how fast I am, Daddy!" Liam sat on a bench, watching. For the first time in 2 years, he let himself believe things might be okay. Mad. Monday morning, Liam arrived at 7:45. He wore the same dress shirt, but he'd bought a tie from Goodwill. It didn't match, but it was something. The receptionist, her name was Claire, gave him a stack of paperwork. "Fill these out. HR will get you set up with a desk and a computer. Ms. Bennett wants you to start with the Peterson account." "What's the Peterson account?" Claire's smile was pitying. "You'll find out." His desk was in a bullpen area, sandwiched between two younger guys in expensive suits. One of them looked up when Liam sat down. "You the new guy?" "Yeah, Liam." "Brad." He didn't offer his hand. "You report to Simmons. Good luck with that." "Why?" Brad smirked. "You'll see." David Simmons turned out to be a wiry man in his 40s with the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. He dropped a file folder on Liam's desk at 9:03. "Peterson account. Client's been waiting 3 weeks for a logistics report. I need it by end of day." Liam opened the folder. It was a mess. Spreadsheets, emails, invoices, none of it organized. "What exactly do you need?" "A full breakdown of shipment schedules, cost analysis, and a projection for Q4. Shouldn't be hard." "I've never done this before." Simmons raised an eyebrow. "Then I suggest you learn fast. Miss Bennett doesn't tolerate incompetence." He walked away before Liam could respond. Liam stared at the folder. His stomach twisted. He didn't even know what half of these terms meant. Cost analysis? Q4 projections? Brad leaned over. "Dude, that's like a week's worth of work. He's setting you up to fail." "Why?" "Because that's what Simmons does. He hates people Ms. Bennett hires without his approval." Brad shrugged. "Just quit now. Save yourself the embarrassment." Liam looked at the folder again, then at the clock, then at the photo on his desk. Noah, grinning, holding Spike. "I'll figure it out," he said. He didn't leave until midnight. The office had emptied hours ago. Liam sat alone in the dim bullpen, cross-referencing invoices, teaching himself Excel formulas from YouTube tutorials, building the report line by line. His eyes burned, his head pounded. But slowly, the numbers started to make sense. At 12:47 a.m., he sent the report to Simmons. At 8:03 the next morning, Simmons dropped it back on his desk. "This is wrong." Liam's chest tightened. "Where?" "Everywhere." "Redo it." "Can you tell me what I messed up?" Simmons leaned in close. "I'm not your teacher, Carter. Figure it out." Liam spent the day going through every line, every formula. He found 3 minor errors, rounding mistakes, nothing catastrophic. He fixed them and resubmitted. Simmons rejected it again. This happened 4 more times over the next 2 weeks. Each time, Simmons found something new to criticize. The formatting was wrong. The tone was too casual. The data was unclear. Liam worked later and later, sleeping 3-4 hours a night. Mrs. Chen watched Noah more than Liam did. The guilt gnawed at him, but he couldn't quit. He couldn't go back to the warehouse, to the endless cycle of just barely surviving. On the 15th day, Ava Bennett walked past his desk. "Mr. Carter, my office, now." Liam's heart sank. This was it. He was getting fired. He followed her down the hall. She closed the door behind him. "Sit." He sat. Ava didn't sit. She stood by the window, arms crossed. "David Simmons has rejected your Peterson report 6 times. "I know. I'm trying to—" "Stop." She turned to face him. "I've reviewed every version you submitted. The first one was rough but usable. The second one was better. By the 4th, it was excellent. Simmons is wasting your time." Liam blinked. "Then why—" "Because I told him to." The words hung in the air. Liam stared at her. "What?" "I needed to see how you handle pressure, how you respond to unfair treatment, whether you'd quit, cut corners, or blame someone else." She sat on the edge of her desk. "You didn't do any of those things. You kept working." "You've been testing me?" "Yes." Liam felt heat rise in his chest. "I have a kid at home I barely see because I've been here until midnight every night. You think that's fair?" "No," Ava said calmly, But fair isn't the same as necessary. Necessary for what? She studied him for a long moment. I'm building something here, Mr. Carter, a company that operates differently. But to do that, I need people I can trust. People who won't fold when things get hard. People who won't lie to me when it's convenient. She leaned forward. The Peterson account was a test. You passed. But there are more tests coming, harder ones. If you're not ready for that, tell me now, and I'll give you a generous severance. No hard feelings. Liam's hands clenched into fists. He thought of Noah, of the new shoes, of the first time in 2 years he hadn't checked his bank account every day. I'm not quitting, he said. Ava's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Approval, maybe? Or respect. Good, she said, because tomorrow you're moving to a new project, one that actually matters. Tjo. The new project was the Langford contract, a potential partnership with a major manufacturing firm. If Bennett Global landed it, the commission alone would be in the 7 figures. Liam was assigned to coordinate the proposal alongside 2 senior associates, Jason Kwan and Michelle Torres. Both had MBAs. Both made it clear they didn't think Liam belonged. Just stay out of the way, Jason said during their first meeting. We'll handle the strategy. You can do the grunt work. Liam nodded. He didn't argue. He did what they asked, compiled data, formatted documents, scheduled meetings. But he also paid attention. He listened to every conversation, read every email, absorbed how they thought, how they pitched, how they strategized. 3 weeks in, Liam noticed something. The cost estimates Jason had prepared didn't match the vendor invoices Liam had been filing. The numbers were off by almost 18%, a discrepancy that would kill the deal if Langford's team caught it. Liam double-checked, then triple-checked. He was right. He went to Jason's office. Hey, I think there's a mistake in the cost breakdown. Jason barely looked up. What are you talking about? The estimates you submitted, they don't match the actual vendor costs. We're under by almost 20%. Jason's jaw tightened. I've been doing this for 6 years. I know how to run numbers. I'm not saying you don't. You're wasting my time. Get back to work. Liam stood there, heart pounding. Then he walked to Michelle's office. Same response. That night, he lay awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling. If he was wrong, he'd look like an idiot. But if he was right and said nothing, the deal would collapse, and Bennett Global would lose millions. The next morning, he went to Ava's office. She was on a call. She held up one finger, finished the conversation, then looked at him. What is it, Mr. Carter? There's a mistake in the Langford proposal. Her expression sharpened. Show me. He laid out the spreadsheets, walking her through the discrepancies. Ava's eyes moved over the numbers, fast and precise. When he finished, she sat back. You're right. Jason and Michelle won't listen to me. Because you're new, and because admitting a mistake makes them look incompetent. She picked up her phone. I'll handle it. Wait. Liam hesitated. They're going to hate me for this. Yes, Ava said. They will. Does that change what you think we should do? Liam thought of Noah, of the note he'd left on a Porsche at 4:47 in the morning, of the man he wanted his son to become. No, he said. Ava nodded. Then we fix it. The Langford proposal was corrected. The deal went through. Jason and Michelle stopped speaking to Liam entirely, but Ava moved him into a new role, analyst, with a raise in his own office. It was small, barely more than a closet, but it had a door. Liam started spending less time at the warehouse and more time learning the business. He took online courses at night, studied logistics models, taught himself financial forecasting. He still saw Noah every morning, made him breakfast, walked him to preschool. But now, when Noah asked what his dad did, Liam had an answer that didn't make him feel like he was failing, and Ava Bennett, in her quiet, unreadable way, seemed to be watching, always watching. 6 months into his time at Bennett Global, Liam had learned to read the silences in the office, the way conversations died when he walked into the break room, the tight smiles from colleagues who thought he'd gotten his position through luck rather than work. He'd stopped trying to win them over. Results spoke louder than forced pleasantries, and his results were starting to pile up. The Marchetti account had been his first solo project, a logistics nightmare involving 3 countries, 2 languages, and a client who changed specifications every 48 hours. Liam had worked it like a puzzle, staying late to coordinate with suppliers in Germany and manufacturers in Taiwan, building contingency plans for every possible failure point. When the shipment arrived on time and under budget, even Jason Kwan had grudgingly nodded in his direction. But it was the quiet moments that stuck with Liam. The times when Ava would appear at his office door without warning, asking questions that felt less like oversight and more like curiosity. She wanted to know how he thought, how he approached problems, what he saw that others missed. He never felt like he had the right answers, but she kept asking anyway. On a Thursday in late April, Liam was reviewing vendor contracts when his phone buzzed. A text from Noah's preschool. "Noah has a fever. Please pick up as soon as possible." Liam's stomach dropped. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the elevator, nearly colliding with Michelle Torres in the hallway. "Leaving early?" she asked, her tone suggesting he'd just confirmed every suspicion she'd ever had about him. "Family emergency." Must be nice having that flexibility. Liam didn't have time to unpack whatever she meant by that. He drove to the preschool with his hazard lights on, breaking at least 3 traffic laws. Noah was sitting in the nurse's office, pale and glassy-eyed, clutching Spike. "Daddy," he mumbled, "my tummy hurts." Liam scooped him up. He was burning. The nurse handed him a thermometer readout, 102.4. "Has he eaten today?" she asked. "He had breakfast. He threw it up an hour ago." Liam carried Noah to the car, buckling him into the booster seat Mrs. Chen had helped him install last year. Noah whimpered, leaning his head against the window. Liam drove to the urgent care clinic, the one that accepted his insurance, and waited 90 minutes in a room full of coughing strangers. A doctor finally saw them, diagnosed a stomach bug, told Liam to keep Noah hydrated and resting. By the time they got home, it was nearly 6. Liam settled Noah on the couch with a blanket and a bowl in case he got sick again, then texted Mrs. Chen to let her know he had things covered. He was heating up chicken broth when his work phone rang. Simmons. "Carter, where the hell are you?" "Home. My son's sick. The Apex meeting is in 20 minutes. You're supposed to present the revised timeline." Liam's mind raced. He'd forgotten. The Apex Industries call had been rescheduled twice, and he'd lost track in the chaos of the day. "I can call in from here." "They want face-to-face, video at minimum." "I don't have anyone to watch my kid." "That's not my problem. Either you're on this call or you're off the account." The line went dead. Liam stood in the kitchen, phone in hand, listening to Noah cough weakly from the couch. The choice was brutally simple. Show up for the meeting and prove he was committed, or stay home and confirm every doubt his colleagues had about him. He thought about calling Mrs. Chen, but she'd already done so much. He thought about Ava, but the idea of asking for special treatment made his skin crawl. Noah looked up at him with tired eyes. "Daddy, can you stay?" Liam knelt beside the couch. "Yeah, buddy, I'm not going anywhere." He sent an email to Simmons with the presentation attached, along with a brief explanation. He didn't apologize. He simply stated the facts. Then he turned off his work phone and spent the evening wiping his son's forehead with a cool cloth, playing quiet games, reading books in a low voice until Noah finally fell asleep. The next morning, Noah's fever had broken. Liam left him with Mrs. Chen and arrived at the office bracing for fallout. It came faster than expected. "Ms. Bennett wants to see you," Claire said the moment he stepped off the elevator. "Now." Liam walked to Ava's office with the kind of dread that made his hands feel numb. He knocked once. "Come in." She was standing by the window again, her back to him. The city stretched out below, steel and glass in endless motion. "The Apex meeting went forward without you," she said. "I know, my son was sick. I sent the materials." Simmons presented them. "He took credit for the work." Liam's jaw tightened. Of course he did. Ava turned to face him. Her expression was unreadable. "You made a choice yesterday. You chose your son over your career." "I chose my son over a meeting. There's a difference." "Is there?" She tilted her head slightly, studying him. "In this world, Mr. Carter, the people who rise are the ones who sacrifice everything else. Family, health, sleep. They give it all to the work. You're not willing to do that." "No," Liam said. "I'm not." "Why?" "Because I've seen what happens when you do. My ex-wife did that. Chased promotions, worked 80-hour weeks, decided her career mattered more than being a mother. She got everything she wanted and walked away from the only thing that mattered. I won't be that person." Ava's gaze didn't waver. You think I'm that person. It wasn't a question. Liam hesitated, then decided honesty was the only card he had left. I don't know what you are, Ms. Bennett, but I know what I am. I'm a father first. If that makes me a bad fit here, then I guess we both know where this is going. The silence stretched. Liam could hear his own heartbeat. Then Ava did something he'd never seen her do. She smiled. Not the polite professional smile she gave clients. A real one, small and fleeting, but unmistakable. You're not fired, Mr. Carter, but we need to talk about something else. She gestured to the chair. Sit. Liam sat, confused. Ava returned to her desk and opened a file. 3 weeks ago, our compliance department flagged an irregularity in the Helix account. Are you familiar with it? Not really. That's Garrett's territory. Jonathan Garrett, Senior VP. He's been with the company for 8 years. Ava slid a document across the desk. This is a summary of his billing practices over the past 18 months. I want you to review it and tell me what you see. Liam picked up the document. It was dense, full of financial jargon he was still learning. But as he skimmed through the pages, certain patterns started to emerge. Invoices that didn't match deliverables. Hours billed for meetings that never happened. Expenses that seemed inflated, sometimes doubled. This looks like fraud, Liam said slowly. It is fraud, to the tune of approximately $3 million. Liam set the document down. Why are you showing me this? Because I need someone I trust to help me investigate it quietly. Garrett has allies in this company. If word gets out before we have ironclad proof, he'll bury it, and we'll lose everything. You want me to investigate a senior VP? I want you to review the data, cross-check it against our records, and help me build a case. You're good with details. You don't have loyalties that complicate things, and you're honest. Ava leaned forward. I need honest right now, Mr. Carter. Liam's mind spun. This was way beyond vendor contracts and logistics reports. This was corporate warfare, the kind that ended careers. What happens if we find proof? I turn it over to the board. Garrett gets fired, possibly prosecuted. And if he finds out I'm involved? He'll try to destroy you. Liam thought of Noah, of the stability they'd finally found, of the apartment that was warm now, the fridge that stayed full. This could blow up in my face. Yes. Why me? You could hire a forensic accountant, someone who actually knows what they're doing. I could, Ava said, but accountants follow the money. I need someone who follows the truth. There's a difference. She paused. You have until Monday to decide. If you say no, I'll respect that, but I wouldn't have asked if I didn't think you were the right person. Liam left her office with the file under his arm, feeling like he'd just been handed a live grenade. That weekend, he barely slept. He spread the documents across his kitchen table after Noah went to bed, tracing the money trails, highlighting discrepancies, building timelines. The more he dug, the uglier it got. Garrett wasn't just skimming. He was running an entire shadow operation, funneling company resources into personal projects, billing clients for work that was never delivered. And he'd been doing it for years. By Sunday night, Liam had filled a notebook with findings. He also had a sick feeling in his gut. Garrett was connected. He played golf with board members. He had friends in the media. If this went sideways, Liam wouldn't just lose his job. He'd be blacklisted. On Monday morning, he walked into Ava's office and set the notebook on her desk. I'm in, he said, but I need a promise. What kind of promise? If this destroys my career, you make sure Noah's taken care of. Scholarship fund, something. I don't care what happens to me, but he doesn't suffer for this. Ava looked at him for a long moment. Then she opened her desk drawer, pulled out a folder, and slid it across. Already done. I set up a trust last week. If anything happens to you, Noah's education is covered through college. Liam stared at the document. You did this before I said yes? I did it the day I asked you. I don't take risks with other people's lives unless I'm willing to cover the cost. Something shifted in Liam's chest. Not gratitude, something deeper, trust maybe, or recognition. He nodded once. Let's burn him down. The investigation took 3 weeks. Liam worked in secret, arriving early and staying late, cross-referencing every invoice, every email, every travel expense. He coordinated with Ava's legal team, fed them findings, watched the case grow. Garrett suspected nothing. He still walked the halls with the easy confidence of someone who believed he was untouchable. But then the legal team made a mistake. They subpoenaed records from one of Garrett's shell vendors. The vendor tipped him off. And suddenly, Garrett knew someone was digging. Liam was at his desk when Garrett appeared in his doorway. He was tall, mid-50s, silver-haired, the kind of man who looked like he'd been born in a suit. "Liam Carter," Garrett said, his voice smooth. "We haven't been formally introduced. Jonathan Garrett." Liam stood, shook his hand. "I know who you are." "I'm sure you do. I hear you've been doing excellent work. Ava speaks highly of you." "That's good to hear." Garrett stepped into the office, closing the door behind him. The air changed. "I also hear you've been reviewing some sensitive files." Liam's pulse kicked up, but he kept his face neutral. "I review a lot of files. Part of the job. Specifically, files related to the Helix account. Ms. Bennett asked me to look into some discrepancies." Garrett smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Here's the thing, Liam. You seem like a smart guy. You've got a kid, right? You're trying to build a future. I respect that. But sometimes smart guys make the mistake of thinking they understand situations they don't. This company is complicated. There are relationships, agreements, understandings that go back years. You've been here, what, 6 months? You don't have the full picture. Then maybe you should fill me in. I'm trying to help you. The people you're working for, they're not your friends. Ava Bennett is brilliant, but she's ruthless. She'll use you to fight her battles and throw you away the second you're not useful. You think she cares about you? About your son?" Garrett leaned against the desk. "She cares about power. That's it. Is there a point to this? The point is you have a choice. You can keep digging into things that don't concern you and make some very powerful people very angry. Or you can step back, focus on your actual job, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. Promoted. Bonus. Security for your kid." He straightened. "What do you say?" Liam looked at him. At the expensive watch, the tailored suit, the easy arrogance of a man who'd never been told no. He thought about the invoices, the fake meetings, the millions stolen from clients who trusted Bennett Global. "I say you're scared," Liam said quietly, "and you should be." Garrett's smile vanished. "You're making a mistake." "Probably, but it's my mistake to make." Garrett stared at him for a moment longer, then turned and walked out without another word. Liam sat back down, hands shaking. His phone buzzed. A text from Ava. "My office. Now." She was pacing when he arrived, something he'd never seen her do. "Garrett just tried to bribe you," she said. "How did you—" "I had IT flag his communications after the vendor leak. He sent an email to his lawyer 5 minutes ago discussing damage control with the Carter problem." She stopped pacing, looked at him. "What did you say to him?" "I told him no. He's going to come after you, hard." "I figured." Ava's expression was unreadable. "You could still walk away. I'd give you a reference, severance. The trust for Noah stays intact. No one would blame you." "Would you?" The question hung between them. "Yes," Ava said finally. "I would blame you, because I asked you to do this, and walking away now means Garrett wins. It means corruption wins. And I didn't build this company so people like him could tear it apart from the inside." Her voice was quiet, but there was steel underneath. "But that's not a fair reason to ask you to stay. So I'm not asking, I'm giving you an out." Liam thought about the parking lot, the note on the windshield, the man he'd chosen to be at 4:47 in the morning when no one was watching. "I don't want an out," he said. "I want to finish this." Ava studied him, then she nodded once. "Then we go public tomorrow. I'm calling an emergency board meeting. You'll present the findings." "Me? You did the work. You should be the one to deliver it." "Garrett's going to be in that room." "I know." Liam's throat felt tight. "What if I screw it up?" "You won't." "How do you know?" Ava's gaze didn't waver. "Because you've never screwed up anything that mattered." That night, Liam couldn't sleep. He lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, running through the presentation in his head. Every slide, every number, every word. Noah was asleep in the bedroom, snoring softly. Liam thought about waking him up, holding him, memorizing the weight of him. But that felt too much like goodbye. Instead, he got up and made coffee. He reviewed the files one more time. Then he put on his suit, a new one, bought with his last paycheck, and drove to the office before sunrise. The board meeting was scheduled for 9. Liam arrived at 7:30. Ava was already there, standing in the conference room, looking out at the city. "Ready?" she asked without turning around. "No." "Good. Means you're taking it seriously." At 8:45, the board members started arriving. 10 of them, all older, all wealthy, all looking at Liam like he was a stain on the carpet. Garrett arrived last, perfectly composed, shaking hands, making small talk. He glanced at Liam once. His expression said everything. Ava called the meeting to order. "Thank you all for coming on short notice. We have a serious matter to address. Mr. Carter will be presenting findings from an internal investigation into financial irregularities." Garrett didn't even blink. Liam stood. His hands were sweating. He pulled up the first slide. "Over the past 18 months, he began, his voice steadier than he felt, approximately $3 million have been misappropriated from client accounts through a series of fraudulent billing practices. He walked them through it, every invoice, every shell company, every inflated expense. The room was silent except for the click of the projector. Some of the board members started taking notes. Others just stared. When Liam reached the final slide, a summary of Garrett's personal financial gains, one of the board members, a woman named Dr. Kapoor, spoke up. "This is a serious accusation, Mr. Carter. Do you have proof?" "Yes." Liam pulled up the supporting documents. Bank transfers, emails, signed invoices that didn't match the work delivered. Dr. Kapoor looked at Garrett. "Jonathan, do you have a response?" Garrett stood smooth as ever. "I have several responses. First, Mr. Carter is a recent hire with minimal experience in corporate finance. He's misinterpreting standard industry practices as fraud. Second, these so-called discrepancies are accounting errors, nothing more. And third," he looked directly at Liam, "this entire presentation is a fabrication designed to discredit me because I refuse to approve his promotion." Liam felt his face flush. "That's a lie." "Is it? You've been here 6 months. You were hired under unusual circumstances. You have no credentials, no background in this field. And now, conveniently, you're accusing me of crimes that would remove the one obstacle between you and a senior position." Garrett turned to the board. "This is a vendetta, plain and simple." Several board members exchanged glances. Liam's chest tightened. This was falling apart. Then Ava stood. "Jonathan, if this is a fabrication, then you won't mind if we subpoena your personal financial records and put them side by side with the company's." Garrett's expression flickered, just for a second. "That's invasive and unnecessary." "Then you won't mind. I have rights, privacy rights, and we have fiduciary responsibility." Ava's voice was calm, almost gentle. "If you're innocent, prove it. Open your records. Let an independent auditor review them. If Mr. Carter is wrong, we'll issue a formal apology and he'll be terminated. But if he's right," she paused, "then you're done." The room went silent. Garrett's jaw worked. "You've already made up your mind. This is a witch hunt." "No," Ava said. "This is due process. Something you should welcome if you have nothing to hide." Dr. Kapoor looked between them. "I move that we authorize an independent audit of both the company records and Mr. Garrett's financials. All in favor?" 8 hands went up. Garrett stood there, surrounded, and for the first time Liam saw the mask crack, saw the fear underneath. "This isn't over," Garrett said quietly. "Yes," Ava replied. "It is." Garrett walked out. The board dismissed. Liam stood alone in the conference room, adrenaline still buzzing through his veins, waiting for the relief to come. It didn't. Because he knew Garrett was right about one thing. This wasn't over. The warehouse shifts didn't stop immediately. Liam gave his 2 weeks' notice, but in those final 14 days, he pulled more doubles than he had in months. Not because he needed to, the Bennett Global salary would start the day he officially began, but because walking away without finishing what he'd committed to felt wrong. His supervisor, a gruff man named Paulson who rarely showed emotion, shook his hand on the last day. "You're making a mistake, Carter. Offices like that chew up guys like you." "Maybe, but I have to try," Paulson grunted. "Well, good luck. You were one of the few who actually gave a damn about the work." That first month at Bennett Global felt like learning a new language while everyone around him spoke fluently. The jargon alone was overwhelming. Synergies, deliverables, bandwidth, circle back. Liam took notes on everything, stayed late watching training videos on YouTube, taught himself Excel shortcuts at midnight after Noah fell asleep. The Peterson account had been brutal, but it taught him something crucial. This world operated on systems, and systems could be learned. You didn't need to be brilliant, you just needed to be thorough. By the end of month 2, he'd stopped relying on tutorials for basic tasks. By month 3, he was actually contributing ideas in meetings instead of just nodding along. Small victories, but they mattered. The Langford contract had been a turning point. After Liam caught the cost estimate errors, Jason and Michelle had frozen him out completely. They stopped CCing him on emails, held meetings without inviting him, made decisions and presented them as fait accompli. Liam had expected pushback, but the depth of their hostility surprised him. "They think you made them look incompetent," Denise explained one afternoon, dropping off a stack of vendor contracts for review. "Which you did. They're not wrong about that." "I was trying to save the deal." "I know, but in their world, being right matters less than not making your colleagues look bad, especially when those colleagues have seniority." She adjusted her glasses. "Welcome to corporate politics. It's exhausting and stupid, but it's real." Liam had grown up believing hard work and honesty were enough. The warehouse had reinforced that. Show up, do the job, go home. But Bennett Global operated on different rules. Perception mattered as much as performance. Relationships mattered as much as results. And stepping on toes, even accidentally, left marks that didn't fade. The analyst position came with new challenges. Liam now had his own projects, his own deadlines, his own budget to manage. He worked on supply chain optimization for 3 major clients, coordinated logistics across 4 time zones, and spent more time on conference calls than he'd spent talking to actual humans in the previous year combined. But he also started to see the bigger picture, how Bennett Global fit into the industry ecosystem, which competitors were gaining ground and why, where the company's vulnerabilities lay. He read industry publications during lunch, studied market trends on weekends, absorbed everything he could about the business. Ava noticed. She didn't comment directly, but she started asking his opinion in meetings. Small things at first. "What do you think about this vendor? How would you approach this timeline?" But gradually the questions became weightier, strategic rather than tactical. 4 months into his analyst role, she called him into her office on a Friday afternoon. "Close the door." Liam did, his stomach nodding. Friday afternoon closed-door meetings were never good news. Ava gestured to the chair. She looked tired, he realized. Not just end-of-week tired, but the kind of exhaustion that came from carrying something heavy for too long. "I need your help with something," she said, "and I need you to keep it confidential." "Okay." She pulled out a file folder, older and more worn than the sleek documents that usually crossed her desk. 6 months ago, before you started here, we lost a major contract with Helix Industries, a $50 million account. At the time, Jonathan Garrett told the board it was due to market conditions. Helix was restructuring, cutting costs, the usual corporate speak. But it wasn't? I don't think so. I think we lost it because Garrett was running his own operation on the side and got caught, or almost caught. Ava opened the folder, revealing pages of financial records. "These are Helix's payment histories. Notice anything?" Liam scanned the documents. The numbers swam at first, but then a pattern emerged. Payments that didn't align with deliverables. Invoices for services that didn't match the contract terms. "These don't make sense." "No, they don't, because Garrett was billing them for work Bennett Global never did, then pocketing the difference through shell companies." Ava's voice was level, but there was anger underneath. "I've been trying to prove this for months, but he's careful. Everything's hidden behind layers of legitimate transactions. I need someone who's good with details and who doesn't have existing loyalties that might complicate things." Liam looked up. "You want me to investigate a senior VP. I want you to help me understand what actually happened. If I'm wrong, we drop it. If I'm right, we build a case and take it to the board." "Why me? You could hire forensic accountants, lawyers." "Bomb because accountants and lawyers leave paper trails. The moment Garrett catches wind of an official investigation, he'll destroy evidence and lawyer up. But you reviewing vendor files as part of your normal analyst work? That's invisible." Ava leaned forward. "I'm not asking you to do anything illegal or unethical. Just look at the data and tell me what you see." Liam thought about Noah, about the apartment that finally had heat, about the stability they'd found. "If he finds out, he'll destroy me." "Yes, He will. Ava didn't sugarcoat it. So you need to decide if you're willing to take that risk. What do you get out of this? A company that isn't rotting from the inside, and proof that doing the right thing still matters. She held his gaze. I won't force you, but I wouldn't ask if I thought you'd say yes to something you shouldn't. Liam took the file. I'll look at it. That's all I'm asking. He spent the weekend buried in spreadsheets while Noah played with Legos on the living room floor. The financial records were dense and deliberately obscure, but Liam had learned how to trace patterns. He cross-referenced invoices with project timelines, compared billing rates with industry standards, mapped payments to vendor registrations. By Sunday night, he had a notebook full of findings, and a sick feeling in his gut. Garrett wasn't just skimming. He'd built an entire shadow operation, funneling Bennett Global resources into personal projects, billing clients for phantom work, creating fake vendors to launder money back to himself. The Helix account was just one piece. There were others, smaller, harder to spot, but adding up to millions over the years. On Monday morning, Liam walked into Ava's office and set the notebook on her desk. He's been doing this for at least 3 years, maybe longer. The Helix deal probably fell apart because someone on their end started asking questions he couldn't answer. Ava flipped through the notebook, her expression hardening with each page. This is worse than I thought. What do we do? We keep digging, quietly, and we make sure the case is airtight before we move. She looked up. Can you keep going? I know this is a lot to ask. Liam thought about the parking lot, the note, the choice that had started all of this. Yeah, I can keep going. The investigation took over his life. During the day, he maintained his regular workload, attending meetings and managing projects like everything was normal. At night, after Noah went to bed, he combed through financial records, built timelines, documented every discrepancy. He started arriving at the office earlier, before most people, to access files without raising suspicion. The stress was crushing, he lost weight, started having trouble sleeping, snapped at Noah over small things, then hated himself for it. Mrs. Chen noticed. You're working too hard again, she said one evening when he picked Noah up. I can see it in your face. Just a big project. It'll be over soon. Will it? She gave him a long look. Be careful, Liam. Some battles cost more than they're worth. But he was already too deep to stop. 3 weeks into the investigation, Liam made a mistake. He'd been reviewing old emails on Garrett's assistant's computer. She'd given him access to check vendor correspondence, when he accidentally printed a document to the shared printer on Garrett's floor instead of his own. By the time he realized and rushed to retrieve it, the page was gone. His heart hammered. The document wasn't explicitly incriminating, but it was from a file he had no business accessing. If someone read it, if they asked questions, nothing happened that day. Or the next. Liam started to relax, convince himself it had been recycled with junk mail. Then, on Thursday afternoon, Garrett appeared in his doorway. Liam's blood turned to ice. Liam Carter, Garrett said, voice smooth as silk. We haven't been formally introduced. Jonathan Garrett. Liam stood, shook his hand. Garrett's grip was firm, practiced. The handshake of someone who'd spent decades in boardrooms. I know who you are, Mr. Garrett. Please, call me Jonathan. We're colleagues, after all. Garrett stepped into the office, glancing around with casual interest. Nice space, small, but you're just getting started. Plenty of room to grow. Is there something I can help you with? Actually, I wanted to congratulate you. I hear you've been doing excellent work. The Langford contract, the Marchetti account, impressive stuff for someone so new to the industry. Garrett's smile didn't reach his eyes. Ava speaks very highly of you. That's good to hear. She has a talent for spotting potential. Not everyone saw it. I'll be honest, there was skepticism when she hired you, but she was right. You've proven yourself. Liam waited. Compliments from someone like Garrett didn't come without strings attached. I also hear you've been reviewing some historical vendor files, Garrett continued, his tone still casual. Part of a process improvement initiative? Just doing my job, making sure our records are accurate. Of course, thoroughness is important, but sometimes, Garrett paused, choosing his words carefully. Sometimes newer employees don't have the full context for why certain decisions were made. Things that look irregular from the outside actually make perfect sense when you understand the relationships involved, the history. I'm just looking at the data. The data doesn't tell the whole story, though, does it? Garrett sat on the edge of Liam's desk, a casual move that felt invasive. Look, I'm going to be straight with you. You're a smart guy. You've got a son to think about, a future to build. The last thing you want is to get caught up in something that doesn't concern you. Office politics can get messy, and people who insert themselves into conflicts between senior leadership sometimes find themselves collateral damage. Liam's hands clenched under the desk. I'm not inserting myself into anything. I'm just doing the work I was assigned. Who assigned it? Specifically, the question was a trap. If Liam said Ava, he'd confirm Garrett's suspicions. If he lied, Garrett would know. I review vendor files as part of my regular responsibilities. It's in my job description. Garrett studied him for a long moment. Then he stood, brushed imaginary lint off his jacket. You know what I like about you, Liam? You're principled. You left that note on my colleague's car. Yes, I heard that story, because it was the right thing to do. Admirable. But here's the thing about principles. They're expensive, and sometimes the people who can least afford them are the ones who cling to them hardest. I should get back to work. Of course. But think about what I said. You've built something good here, stable income, respect, a real future. Would be a shame to jeopardize that over something that isn't your fight. Garrett walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Liam? If you do find any irregularities in those files, you should bring them to me first. Chain of command, you understand. I'd hate for you to embarrass yourself by making accusations you can't substantiate. He left. Liam sat frozen for 5 full minutes. Then he grabbed his phone and texted Ava. We need to talk. Now. They met in a coffee shop 3 blocks from the office. Ava listened while Liam recounted the conversation, her expression growing darker with each sentence. He knows, she said when he finished, or strongly suspects. What do I do? Nothing. Keep working. Don't change your behavior. Don't act suspicious. Ava stirred her coffee absently. He's testing you, trying to gauge whether you'll fold or escalate. If you back off now, he wins. If you push harder, he'll know for certain what you're doing. So I'm trapped. You're at a decision point. Ava set down her spoon, looked at him directly. I can pull you out right now. Assign the investigation to someone else. Give you different projects. You'd be safe. But Garrett would know he scared you off, and he'd cover his tracks even better than before. And if I keep going, then you're declaring yourself a threat, and he'll come after you with everything he has. Legal threats, reputation attacks, going after your job. She paused. Possibly worse. Liam thought about the text message he'd received weeks ago. Things get worse for you and your son. He'd assumed it was an empty threat. Now he wasn't sure. I need to think about it. Take the time you need. But Liam? Ava's voice softened slightly. Whatever you decide, I won't think less of you. You've already done more than anyone should have to. If you want out, you're out. No judgment. That night, Liam barely touched his dinner. Noah kept asking if he was okay. Liam kept saying he was fine. Neither of them believed it. After Noah fell asleep, Liam sat on the fire escape, a rusted metal platform outside his window that the landlord kept threatening to repair, and stared at the city. Lights stretched to the horizon, each one representing someone else's struggle, someone else's choices. He thought about his father. Frank Carter had worked construction for 40 years, came home with broken hands and a straight back, never compromised on a job, even when it cost him contracts. When Liam was 12, Frank had discovered faulty wiring on a commercial site. The contractor wanted to bury it, move forward, collect payment. Frank had reported it anyway, knowing he'd never work for that contractor again. Why'd you do it? Liam had asked. You needed the money. I did, but I need to sleep at night more. Frank had gripped his shoulder. You'll understand someday. There's things you can't take back, lines you can't uncross. You pick money over doing right enough times. You wake up one day and don't recognize the man in the mirror. Liam understood now. He pulled out his phone, typed a message to Ava. I'm staying in. Let's finish this. Her response came immediately. Good. We'll need to be smarter about it, and faster. He's going to move against you. I know. Get some sleep. We have work to do. Liam didn't sleep. He sat on the fire escape until dawn, watching the city wake up, and made peace with the choice he'd made. Whatever came next, at least he'd be able to look Noah in the eye. The audit took 11 days. 11 days during which Liam felt like he was walking through the office with a target painted on his back. People who'd been cordial before now avoided eye contact. Conversations stopped when he entered rooms. Someone scratched his car in the parking garage, a long, deliberate gouge down the driver's side that hadn't been there when he arrived that morning. He didn't report it. What would be the point? Jason Kwan cornered him by the elevators on day 3. "You're an idiot, you know that?" Liam kept his eyes on the floor indicator. "Probably. Garrett's got friends everywhere. Board members, investors, half the senior staff. You think Ava's going to protect you when this blows up in her face?" "I'm not asking her to protect me." "Then you're dumber than I thought." Jason stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I've been here 5 years. I've seen people like you come and go. You think you're special because she gave you a shot? You're a pawn, Carter, and pawns get sacrificed." The elevator doors opened. Liam stepped inside without responding. Jason's words followed him anyway, echoing in the silence of the ride down. That night, Liam picked Noah up from Mrs. Chen's and took him to the park. It was late April, the air finally warming, the trees starting to bud. Noah climbed on the jungle gym while Liam sat on a bench watching. "Daddy, look how high I can go," Noah shouted from the top of the slide. "I see you, buddy. Be careful." Noah went down head first, laughing the whole way. Liam felt something tighten in his chest. This kid trusted him completely, believed his dad could fix anything, handle anything. What happened when that trust ran into the reality of the mess Liam had created? His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You've got 48 hours to recant your testimony, or things get worse for you and your son." Liam stared at the screen, ice flooding his veins. He looked around the park. Families, joggers, a guy walking a dog. No one paying attention. He deleted the message and pocketed the phone. "Daddy, come push me on the swings." Liam stood, forcing a smile. "Coming." He didn't tell Ava about the text. Didn't tell anyone. He just started walking Noah to preschool instead of letting him ride the bus, and he asked Mrs. Chen to keep her door locked during the day. She didn't ask why. She just nodded and squeezed his hand. On day 7 of the audit, the independent accounting firm delivered their preliminary findings to the board. Liam wasn't allowed to see the report, but he could read the shift in the office. Garrett stopped coming in. His assistant cleaned out his desk. The rumors started circulating, millions in fraud, criminal charges pending, a scandal that would hit the business press by end of week. Liam waited for relief, for vindication. Instead, he felt exhausted. Ava called him to her office on day 9. She looked tired in a way he'd never seen before. There were shadows under her eyes, and her desk was covered in legal documents. "The board accepted the auditor's findings," she said without preamble. "Garrett's been terminated. They're referring the case to the district attorney." "That's good." "Is it?" Ava leaned back in her chair. 3 board members resigned this morning. 2 major clients are threatening to pull their contracts because they're concerned about stability. Our stock price dropped 6% in the last hour. She looked at him. "This is going to get uglier before it gets better." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. You did the right thing. I'm the one who asked you to do it." She rubbed her temples. "Garrett's lawyer is making noise about suing you personally for defamation." Liam's stomach dropped. "Can he do that?" "He can try. It won't go anywhere. You have documentation, the audit backs you up. But it'll be expensive and time-consuming, and he knows that. He's trying to punish you. So what do I do? You let our legal team handle it, and you keep your head down." Ava's gaze sharpened. "There's something else. The board wants to promote you." Liam blinked. "What?" "Director of Operations. It's a VP-level position. Substantial raise, full benefits, your own team. They want to send a message that integrity gets rewarded here." "I don't want a promotion. I just wanted to stop a thief." "I know. That's why they're offering it." Ava stood, walked to the window. "You can say no. But if you do, it sends a different message. That standing up costs too much. That people like Garrett win even when they lose." Liam thought about the text message, the scratched car, the 11 days of walking through hostile territory. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to take the job. Build a team you trust. Help me fix this company." She turned to face him. "But I won't lie to you, Mr. Carter. It's going to be brutal. You'll have a target on your back for years. People will undermine you, test you, wait for you to fail." And if you do fail, they'll use it to prove that people like you don't belong in positions like this. People like me. People who didn't go to the right schools, who don't have the right connections, who got here by working instead of networking. Ava's voice was level, but there was an edge underneath. People like us. Liam looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something he hadn't noticed before. The carefully controlled exterior, the perfect professionalism, it was armor. She'd been fighting this battle a lot longer than he had. Okay, he said, I'll take it. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. For the first time in days, Ava almost smiled. Good answer. The promotion was announced the next morning. The reaction was immediate and predictable. Half the office congratulated him with tight, forced smiles. The other half pretended he didn't exist. Michelle Torres sent a company-wide email about maintaining professional standards that everyone understood was aimed at him. David Simmons requested a transfer to a different division. Liam moved into a larger office on the 16th floor. It had a view of the river and furniture that didn't look like it came from a liquidation sale. His assistant, a sharp woman in her 50s named Denise, brought him coffee without being asked and handled his calendar like a military operation. You're going to need thicker skin, she said on his second day. People are going to test you constantly. I noticed. Don't react. Don't defend yourself. Just do the work and let results speak. She set a stack of files on his desk. These are your direct reports. 3 of them are great. 2 are mediocre. 1 is actively sabotaging you. Which one? Marcus Reed. He wanted this job. Thought he was next in line. Now he's reporting to someone who's been here less than a year. Denise raised an eyebrow. Watch him. She was right. Marcus was polite in meetings, but his reports were always late, his data always just slightly off, his attitude always bordering on insubordination. Liam tried addressing it directly. Marcus, we need to talk about the Davidson project. Your timeline doesn't match what we promised the client. Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. I sent you the updated timeline last week. You sent me a draft. I asked for a finalized version by Wednesday. I've been busy. Some of us have been here long enough to have multiple projects running. Then delegate. That's what your team is for. My team is overworked because we're covering for all the new hires who don't know what they're doing yet. Marcus smiled, but it was cold. No offense. Liam felt his jaw tighten. Get me the finalized timeline by end of day. That's not a request. Marcus left without responding. Denise was waiting when Liam came out of the office. He's going to push until you push back harder. I'm not firing him over a late report. I'm not saying fire him. I'm saying make it clear there are consequences. She handed him another file. Also, Ava wants to see you at 4. Something about the Garrison deal. The Garrison deal was Bennett Global's largest potential contract of the year, a partnership with a multinational logistics firm that could triple their annual revenue. Liam had been brought in to consult on the operations side, but the lead negotiator was a senior VP named Christine Vega. She was brilliant, ruthless, and made no secret of the fact that she thought Liam's promotion was a publicity stunt. At 4, Liam walked into Ava's office to find Christine already there, pacing. Finally, Christine said, We've got a problem. Ava gestured for Liam to sit. Garrison's CEO is getting cold feet. He's heard about the Garrett situation, and he's worried about our internal controls. That's ridiculous, Christine snapped. We caught the fraud. That proves our controls work. Perception doesn't care about logic, Ava said. He wants reassurance. He's asking for a face-to-face meeting with our operations leadership before he signs. Christine looked at Liam. That's you. Me? You're the director of operations. You're the one who caught Garrett. He wants to meet the person who's supposedly cleaning house. Her tone made it clear what she thought of that. When? Liam asked. Tomorrow. New York. He's flying in for 1 day, and this is the only window he has. Ava pulled up a calendar on her screen. I'll go with you. Christine will dial in remotely. Christine's expression darkened. I've been working this deal for 8 months. I should be in the room. You will be, virtually, but he specifically asked to meet Liam, and I'm not risking this contract over ego. This isn't about ego. This is about strategy. Then trust me to execute it. Ava's voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. You'll get the commission either way. Christine left without another word, slamming the door hard enough that the picture frames rattled. Ava looked at Liam. Pack a bag. We're taking the 6 a.m. train. That night, Liam asked Mrs. Chen to watch Noah overnight. She waved off his apology about the short notice. You're doing important things now, she said. Noah will be fine. I'll make him pancakes for breakfast. Liam knelt down to eye level with his son. I'll be back tomorrow night, okay? Mrs. Chen's going to take care of you. Noah hugged him. Are you nervous, Daddy? A little. You'll do good. You always do good. Liam held him tighter, wishing he had half the confidence his son did. The train to New York left at 6:03. Liam met Ava at the station, both of them carrying travel bags and coffee. They found seats in a quiet car, and Ava pulled out her laptop. Arthur Garrison is old school, she said, typing without looking up. He built his company from nothing 40 years ago. He values handshake deals and personal relationships. He's also notoriously difficult to read. So what's the play? Honesty. He'll ask hard questions. Don't dodge them. Don't spin. Just tell him the truth. She glanced at him. You're good at that. What if the truth scares him off? Then we weren't going to close the deal anyway. Ava closed the laptop. He's not looking for perfection, Mr. Carter. He's looking for someone he can trust. Show him that person. They arrived in New York at 9:47. The meeting was at 11 in a conference room at Garrison's corporate office, a sleek building in Midtown with a lobby that looked like a modern art museum. Arthur Garrison met them personally, a broad-shouldered man in his 70s with white hair and a crushing handshake. Ms. Bennett, good to see you again. Arthur, this is Liam Carter, our Director of Operations. Garrison turned to Liam, studying him with sharp gray eyes. You're the one who found the fraud. Yes, sir. How long have you been with the company? About 9 months. And before that? Liam hesitated. Ava had said honesty. I worked nights at a warehouse. Before that, construction, landscaping, whatever paid. Garrison's eyebrows rose. No business degree? No, sir. How'd you end up at Bennett Global? Liam glanced at Ava, then decided to just say it. I scraped her car in a parking lot and left a note. She hired me because of it. Garrison stared at him for a long moment. Then he laughed, a deep, genuine sound that echoed in the marble lobby. That's the best damn origin story I've heard in 20 years. Come on, let's talk. The meeting lasted 2 hours. Garrison asked about the Garrett investigation, about internal controls, about how Bennett Global planned to prevent future fraud. Liam walked him through the new systems they were implementing, randomized audits, cross-departmental oversight, whistleblower protections. He didn't sugarcoat the damage Garrett had done or pretend it wouldn't take time to rebuild trust. You're not worried this makes you look weak? Garrison asked. No, sir. I think hiding it would make us weak. Fixing it makes us stronger. Garrison leaned back, considering. You've got guts, kid. I'll give you that. He looked at Ava. You always this straightforward? Always, Ava said. Good. I'm tired of people blowing smoke. Garrison stood, extended his hand. You've got a deal. My lawyers will send the contracts by end of week. Ava shook his hand, her expression carefully neutral. Thank you, Arthur. Don't thank me. Thank him. Garrison nodded at Liam. You've got something rare in this business, someone who tells the truth even when it costs him. Don't lose that. On the train ride back, Ava was quiet for a long time. Then she said, You just closed a $40 million contract. You closed it. I just showed up. No, you showed him who you are. That's what closed it. She looked out the window at the passing landscape. I've been doing this for 12 years, Mr. Carter. I've seen a lot of people come through this industry. Most of them are smart. A lot of them are talented. But very few of them are decent. And even fewer stay that way once they get power. She turned back to him. Don't let this place change you. What if it already has? Then change it back. Liam thought about that, about the parking lot, the note, the choice he'd made when he had nothing to gain and everything to lose. I'll try. They got back to the city at 7. Liam went straight to Mrs. Chen's apartment. Noah was already in his pajamas, half asleep on her couch. He was good as gold, Mrs. Chen said. We made pancakes. He helped me water my plants. He's a sweet boy. Liam scooped Noah up. Thanks for everything. You look tired. Long day. Good tired or bad tired? Liam thought about Garrison's handshake, about Ava's words on the train, about the fact that he'd just helped close a deal that would change the company's trajectory. "Good tired," Mrs. Chen smiled. "Then go rest. Both of you." That weekend, Liam took Noah to the aquarium. They watched the jellyfish, touched the stingrays, ate overpriced hot dogs. Noah talked non-stop about the sharks, asking a million questions Liam didn't know the answers to. They rode the subway home, Noah falling asleep against his shoulder. Liam's phone buzzed. A text from Ava. "Board approved your team budget. You can start hiring Monday." He looked down at Noah, then out the subway window at the city sliding past. He thought about the version of himself from a year ago, exhausted and broke, and convinced he'd never dig out of the hole he was in. That version wouldn't recognize this moment, holding his son on a Saturday afternoon, coming back from a day that didn't involve working, reading a text about hiring a team. On Monday, Liam started building. He hired 3 analysts, all of them hungrier than they were polished. One was a recent graduate from a state school who reminded him of himself. One was a single mom transitioning from retail management. One was a guy in his 40s who'd been laid off twice and was just trying to stay afloat. Marcus Reed called them charity cases in a meeting. Liam called Marcus into his office immediately after. "You've got 2 choices," Liam said. "Work with the team I've built, or request a transfer. But if you stay, the passive-aggressive comments stop today." Marcus's face flushed. "You can't talk to me like that." "I just did. What's it going to be?" "I've been here 7 years. I've earned the right to speak my mind." Speaking your mind is fine. Undermining your colleagues isn't. Decide by end of day. Marcus transferred to Christine Vega's division by Wednesday. Denise brought Liam coffee the next morning. "You're getting the hang of this." "Doesn't feel like it." "It never does." "But you're doing it anyway." She set down a folder. "The Garrison contracts came through. Legal's reviewing them now. Congratulations." Liam opened the folder, scanned the numbers. 42 million over 3 years. Bonuses tied to performance benchmarks. A partnership that could legitimately transform the company. He thought about the scratch on the Porsche, the note fluttering under the windshield wiper, how a single choice in a parking lot had led to this moment. His phone rang. "Ava." "My office, now." Liam walked upstairs, wondering what crisis had emerged. Ava was standing by the window when he entered, her posture rigid. "Close the door." He did. She turned to face him, and for the first time since he'd met her, she looked uncertain. "I need to tell you something, and I need you to not interrupt until I'm finished." "Okay." Ava took a breath. "The tests I put you through, Simmons rejecting your reports, the Garrett investigation, the Garrison meeting, they weren't random. I was looking for something specific, someone specific." She paused. "When I took over as COO 3 years ago, this company was rotting from the inside. Corruption, nepotism, people more interested in protecting their positions than doing good work. I've been trying to fix it, but I can't do it alone. I needed someone I could trust completely, someone whose integrity wasn't for sale." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because the board just offered me the CEO position, and if I take it, I want you as my COO." Liam stared at her. "I've been here less than a year." "I know. I don't have the experience. You have something better. You have principles, and you have the ability to make other people want to be better than they are." Ava's gaze didn't waver. "I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be honest, to build a team that operates the way you do, to help me turn this company into what it should be. What if I fail? Then we fail together." She held out her hand. "What do you say, Mr. Carter?" Liam looked at her hand, thought about Noah, about the future he was trying to build, about the man he'd chosen to be in a parking lot at 4:47 in the morning. He shook her hand. "I say, let's get to work." The announcement went out 3 days later. Ava Bennett, CEO. Liam Carter, Chief Operating Officer. The reaction from the business press was swift and predictable. Half called it bold leadership, the other half called it reckless. A 25-year industry veteran quoted in the Wall Street Journal said, "Promoting someone with Liam's background to COO was either visionary or suicidal, and we'll know which in 6 months." Liam read the article at his new desk. Larger office, 17th floor, view of the entire city. He felt like an imposter in an expensive suit. Denise appeared in his doorway holding a stack of folders that looked like it weighed 10 pounds. Your first executive team meeting is in 20 minutes. You'll want to review these beforehand. What are they? Departmental reports, budget projections, initiatives that need approval. Welcome to the executive level, where the real work is reading things other people wrote so you can tell them whether they're allowed to do their jobs. Liam took the stack. That sounds terrible. It is. But someone has to do it, and apparently that someone is you now. She turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I've been here 14 years. I've seen a lot of people in that chair. Most of them cared more about protecting their position than doing what was right. You're different. Don't lose that just because the title changed. The executive team meeting was exactly as uncomfortable as Liam had anticipated. 12 people around a mahogany table, 11 of them with decades of experience and degrees from schools Liam couldn't have afforded to visit. Christine Vega sat directly across from him, her expression carefully blank. The CFO, an older man named Howard Chen, kept glancing at Liam like he was trying to figure out if this was an elaborate prank. Ava called the meeting to order. Let's start with operations. Liam, walk us through the Q3 projections. Liam pulled up the presentation he'd spent the last 48 hours building. His hands didn't shake, but it was close. He walked them through the numbers, revenue targets, efficiency improvements, cost reduction strategies. Halfway through, Christine interrupted. These projections assume we hit every benchmark perfectly. What's your contingency if we don't? We build buffer into the timeline. If the Garrison contract ramps slower than expected, we offset with the Meridian expansion. And if both underperform, then we adjust mid-quarter, cut discretionary spending, reallocate resources, focus on high-margin accounts. Christine leaned back. That's reactive, not proactive. It's realistic, Liam said. We can't predict every variable, but we can build systems that adapt when things don't go according to plan. That's not how we've operated historically. I know. That's why we're changing it. The room went quiet. Howard Chen cleared his throat. With all due respect, Mr. Carter, the historical approach has worked well for this company. It worked until it didn't, Ava said. The Garrett situation happened because we assumed systems would self-correct instead of building accountability. Liam's approach prioritizes flexibility and oversight. That's what we need right now. Christine's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue further. After the meeting, Ava pulled Liam aside. You handled that well. Didn't feel like it? Good. If it felt easy, you'd be doing it wrong. She handed him a business card. Lunch meeting tomorrow. Potential investor. He's bringing his due diligence team, and they're going to grill you about operational stability post-Garrett. Liam looked at the card. What do I tell them? The truth, that we found the problem, fixed it, and built safeguards to prevent it from happening again. Ava's expression was unreadable. They're not investing in perfection, they're investing in our ability to handle imperfection. Show them that. The investor lunch was at a restaurant downtown where the menu didn't list prices. Liam wore his second-best suit. The best one was at the dry cleaners, and spent the entire morning rehearsing answers to questions he hoped they wouldn't ask. They asked all of them. The lead investor, a man named Richard Stoltz, had the kind of face that suggested he'd never smiled in his life. Mr. Carter, you've been with Bennett Global for less than a year. Why should we trust you to run operations for a company this size? You probably shouldn't, Liam said. Not based on my resume, but if you look at what I've actually done, identifying the Garrett fraud, restructuring internal controls, closing the Garrison deal, the results speak for themselves. Results can be luck. They can, but luck doesn't build systems. Luck doesn't catch fraud that's been running for years. And luck doesn't convince a CEO like Arthur Garrison to sign a $42 million contract. Liam met his eyes. I'm not going to pretend I have an MBA or 20 years of corporate experience, but I will tell you that I work harder than anyone else you'll meet, and I don't cut corners when it matters. Stoltz studied him. What's your biggest failure at Bennett Global? Liam thought about the scratched car, the sleepless nights, the moment in the board meeting when he thought Garrett would win. I almost walked away from the Garrett investigation. He offered me a bribe, and for about 10 seconds, I considered taking it. Not because I wanted the money, but because I was scared of what would happen to my son if I lost everything. Why didn't you? Because I couldn't look at him and pretend to be someone I'm not. He deserves better than that. Stoltz exchanged a glance with his team. We'll be in touch. Liam had no idea if that was good or bad. 2 weeks later, Stoltz's firm committed $18 million in funding. Ava forwarded Liam the email with a single line. See? Honesty works, but honesty also made enemies. Marcus Reed, now working under Christine, started quietly spreading rumors that Liam had fabricated parts of the Garrett investigation to make himself look good. The rumors were baseless, but they spread anyway. Liam heard whispers in the break room, saw the sidelong glances. Someone leaked an internal memo to a business blog suggesting Bennett Global's leadership shakeup was cosmetic damage control rather than genuine reform. Liam wanted to fight back, wanted to defend himself, set the record straight. Instead, he did what Denise had told him months ago. He kept his head down and let the work speak. He rebuilt the operations division from the ground up. Hired people who'd been overlooked by other companies, immigrants with degrees that weren't recognized in the U.S., career changers who didn't fit the traditional mold, single parents who needed flexible schedules. His team started delivering results that the previous team never had. Efficiency went up, costs went down. Client satisfaction scores climbed for 3 straight quarters. The rumors didn't stop, but they started to matter less. 6 months into his tenure as COO, Liam got a call from his ex-wife. He almost didn't answer. Emma had called exactly twice in the 2 years since she'd left. Once to sign away custody, once to make sure Liam wasn't going to ask for child support. Hearing her voice felt like touching a live wire. Liam, it's me. I know. I heard you got promoted. COO at Bennett Global. That's impressive. What do you want, Emma? There was a pause. I want to see Noah. Liam's grip on the phone tightened. No. He's my son. You gave up that right when you walked out. I made a mistake. I was overwhelmed and I wasn't ready to be a mother, but I've been working on myself. I'm in a better place now. Her voice cracked slightly. I want to be part of his life. You don't get to decide that. You don't get to disappear for 2 years and then show up because my life looks stable now. I'm not asking for custody. I just want visitation, a chance to... Emma, he doesn't even remember you. When he talks about his family, it's me and Mrs. Chen. You're not part of that picture anymore. Then let me be. Please. Liam closed his eyes. Part of him wanted to say yes, not for Emma's sake, but because he wondered if Noah deserved to know his mother. But the larger part remembered the nights Noah cried himself to sleep asking where Mommy went, the months it took to convince him he wasn't the reason she left. I'll think about it, Liam said finally. But I'm not promising anything, and if I do let you see him, it's supervised and on my terms. Okay? Thank you. He hung up and sat in his office for 20 minutes, staring at the wall. That night, he asked Noah a question he'd been avoiding. They were eating dinner, spaghetti, Noah's favorite, when Liam set down his fork. Buddy, do you ever think about your mom? Noah looked up, confused. Not really. Why? She called today. She wants to see you. Noah's face scrunched up. I don't want to see her. You don't have to, but if you ever change your mind, you can tell me. She left us, Daddy. Why would I want to see someone who left? Liam felt his chest tighten. Sometimes people make mistakes, and sometimes they want a chance to fix them. Do you want me to see her? I want you to do whatever feels right to you. Noah thought about it, twirling spaghetti on his fork. Can I think about it? Of course. Okay, but right now I don't want to. He looked up at Liam with those serious dark eyes. You didn't leave. You're the one who stayed. Liam had to look away so Noah wouldn't see his expression. At work, things continued to shift. Ava restructured the executive team, bringing in 2 new VPs who shared her vision for transparency and accountability. Christine Vega left for a competitor, taking Marcus Reed with her. The transition was messy. Christine made sure of that, bad-mouthing Bennett Global to anyone who'd listen, but the company stabilized faster than anyone expected. Liam's team became known as the place where good work got recognized. People started requesting transfers into operations. The analysts he'd hired were getting promoted. The single mom he'd brought on, her name was Teresa, closed a deal with a major shipping company that saved the company $2 million annually. One afternoon, Ava stopped by his office unannounced. Got a minute? Always. She sat across from him, and for once she looked relaxed. I wanted to thank you. For what? For proving me right. When I offered you that first job, people thought I'd lost my mind. Hiring someone with no experience, no degree, no connections. They said I was making decisions based on sentiment instead of strategy. She leaned back. But you've built something here that no MBA program could teach. A culture where people actually give a damn. Where integrity isn't just a word in a mission statement. I just hired people who needed a shot. Exactly. And those people are outperforming teams full of Ivy League graduates because they're not trying to protect their position. They're trying to prove they belong. You gave them that chance. The same one I gave you. Ava's expression softened slightly. We're profitable again, by the way. First time in 18 months, Liam blinked. Seriously? Seriously. The board's talking about bonuses. You're getting a substantial one. It's not about need. It's about value. You've earned it. That night, Liam took Noah to get ice cream. They sat on a bench outside the shop watching people walk by. Noah had chocolate all over his face. Daddy, are we rich now? Liam laughed. What makes you ask that? You bought me ice cream and you didn't check your phone to see if we had enough money. Liam's throat tightened. He'd thought Noah didn't notice those things. We're doing okay, buddy. Better than we were. Good. Mrs. Chen says you work really hard. Mrs. Chen talks about me? She says you're a good man, that not everyone would do what you do. Noah licked his cone thoughtfully. What does that mean? Liam thought about the parking lot, the note, the 1,000 small decisions that had led them here. It means trying to do the right thing even when it's hard. Do you always do the right thing? No, sometimes I mess up, but I try. Noah nodded like that made perfect sense. I think you do good, Daddy. 3 months later, Bennett Global held their annual gala. It was black tie, held at a hotel ballroom downtown, the kind of event Liam would have found intimidating a year ago. Now he just found it exhausting. He wore a rented tux and spent most of the evening making small talk with investors and clients, trying not to spill anything on himself. Ava found him near the bar. She was wearing a dark blue dress, her hair down for once, and she looked different, less armored. Hiding? She asked. Taking a break. You? Same. She ordered a drink, then turned to face the room. Do you ever feel like an imposter at these things? Liam was surprised by the question. Ava always seemed completely in control. Every single time. Good. That means you're still human. She took a sip of her drink. I wanted to tell you something. Arthur Garrison called me yesterday. He's referring 3 other companies to us. Said working with you restored his faith in corporate integrity. He said that? His exact words were, that kid you've got running operations is the real deal. Don't let some bigger firm steal him. Ava smiled slightly. I told him you weren't going anywhere. How do you know? Because you're not here for the title or the money. You're here because you believe we can build something better. She looked at him. Am I wrong? Liam thought about it, about the team he'd built, the culture they were creating, the way people were starting to trust that Bennett Global meant what it said. No, you're not wrong. Then stay. Help me finish what we started. Across the room, the CEO of one of their largest clients was waving Ava over. She sighed. Duty calls. But thank you, Liam, for everything. She walked away, and Liam stood there watching her navigate the crowd with practiced ease. He thought about the first time he'd walked into this building, terrified and underprepared, convinced he didn't belong. How far he'd come since then, how much further he still had to go. His phone buzzed, a text from Mrs. Chen with a photo. Noah asleep on her couch, Spike tucked under his arm. He's fine. Enjoy your night. Liam smiled, sent back a thank you. Then he pocketed his phone and went back to the gala. The following spring, Emma made good on her request for visitation. Liam set up a supervised meeting at a park. Neutral territory, time limited, with Mrs. Chen present as a buffer. Noah was nervous beforehand, asking questions Liam didn't know how to answer. What if she's mean? What if she wants to take me away? What if I don't like her? Liam knelt down, hands on Noah's shoulders. You don't have to like her. You don't have to forgive her. You just have to be honest about how you feel. And if you want to leave at any point, we leave. No questions asked. Emma showed up on time, looking smaller than Liam remembered, uncertain. She brought a stuffed animal, a dinosaur, because Noah loved dinosaurs, and stood there awkwardly until Noah approached. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi," Noah replied. They sat on a bench. Mrs. Chen and Liam stayed within earshot but gave them space. Liam watched his son's body language, ready to intervene if needed. But Noah talked, told her about school, about his friends, about the aquarium. Emma listened, asking gentle questions, not pushing. After 30 minutes, Noah walked back to Liam. "Can we go home now?" "Of course. Say goodbye." Noah waved at Emma. "Bye." "Bye, Noah. Thank you for giving me this time." In the car, Liam asked how it went. "It was okay," Noah said. "She's nice, but she's not my mom. Not like a real mom." "What's a real mom?" "Someone who stays." Liam had to pull over because his eyes were blurring. He unbuckled and climbed into the back seat, pulling Noah into a hug. "You're the smartest kid I know," he whispered. "I know," Noah said seriously. "Mrs. Chen tells me that all the time." A year after becoming COO, Liam stood in the same parking lot where everything had started. He'd driven here on purpose, early morning, just to see it again. The Porsche was long gone, replaced by a Tesla. His own car was different too, not fancy, but reliable. Paid off. He thought about the man he'd been that morning at 447, exhausted and desperate, and convinced he'd never climb out of the hole he was in. That man would have never believed this was possible. COO of a major firm, financial stability, a son who was thriving, a career built on something other than just surviving. His phone rang. "Ava." "Where are you? The board meeting starts in 20 minutes. "On my way." "Don't be late. We're announcing the expansion into Asia Pacific, and you're presenting." "I'll be there." He hung up, took one last look at the parking lot, then got in his car. The board meeting went well. The Asia Pacific expansion was approved unanimously. Afterward, Ava pulled him aside. "I'm stepping down as CEO at the end of the year." Liam stared at her. "What?" "I've been offered a position with a venture capital firm. They want someone to help them identify companies worth investing in. It's the right move for me." She paused. "The board wants you to take over as CEO." "Ava, I can't." "You can. You've been running half this company for the last year anyway, and the board trusts you. More importantly, the employees trust you." She looked at him steadily. "I wouldn't recommend you if I didn't think you were ready." "What if I screw it up?" "Then you'll fix it. That's what you do." Ava almost smiled. "Besides, you've already proven something most CEOs never do." "What's that?" "That you'll choose integrity over convenience, every single time, even when it costs you." She extended her hand. "So what do you say? Ready to run this place?" Liam thought about Noah, about the team he'd built, about the parking lot and the note and the choice that had changed everything. He shook her hand. "Yeah, I'm ready." 6 months later, Liam Carter became the youngest CEO in Bennett Global's history. The press coverage was intense. Stories about his unconventional background, his rise from warehouse worker to executive leadership, the way he'd transformed the company's culture. Some outlets called it inspirational. Others called it a publicity stunt. Liam didn't read any of it. He was too busy working. His first move as CEO was to establish a scholarship fund for employees' children. Full tuition, books, housing. Funded entirely by executive bonuses. The second move was implementing a mentorship program pairing senior staff with new hires from non-traditional backgrounds. The third was restructuring the pay scale to close the gap between entry-level and executive compensation. Not everyone liked the changes. 2 board members resigned. A few senior VPs left for competitors. But the company's culture shifted in ways that couldn't be measured on a spreadsheet. Turnover dropped. Employee satisfaction scores hit record highs. And profitability continued climbing. On Noah's 7th birthday, Liam took the day off for the first time in 6 months. They went to the Science Museum, ate pizza, played laser tag. Noah's friends from school came over for cake. Mrs. Chen helped organize everything, refusing payment as always. That night, after everyone left and Noah was in bed, Liam sat on the couch with a beer, looking at the photos on his phone. Noah blowing out candles, Noah laughing with his friends. Noah hugging Liam so tight his small arms shook with the effort. His phone buzzed. A text from Ava. How was the party? Good, really good. You deserve it, both of you. Liam set the phone down and closed his eyes. He thought about the choices that had brought him here. The note on the windshield. The decision to stay when he could have walked away. The investigation that could have destroyed him. The promotions he'd accepted even when he felt unqualified. None of it had been easy. None of it had been perfect. But all of it had been worth it. Because the truth was, success wasn't about never being afraid or never doubting yourself. It wasn't about having all the answers or never making mistakes. Success was about showing up anyway, about choosing integrity when it cost you, about being the person you wanted your kid to believe you were, even on the days when you weren't sure you could live up to it. A year later, Bennett Global was named one of the top companies to work for in the country. Liam gave the acceptance speech at an awards ceremony downtown. He kept it short. A few years ago, I was working nights at a warehouse, barely keeping my head above water. I didn't have a degree or connections or any of the things people say you need to succeed. What I had was a choice. I could walk away from a mistake I'd made, or I could take responsibility for it. Kees. He paused, looking out at the crowd. That choice led to this. Not because I'm special, but because someone saw past my resume and gave me a shot. And then I tried to do the same for other people. That's all this is. A company full of people who got a shot and decided to make the most of it. The applause was polite but genuine. Afterward, a young woman approached him. She couldn't have been more than 22. Mr. Carter, I just wanted to say thank you. I got hired through your mentorship program last year. I was a high school dropout with a kid working 3 jobs. I thought I'd never get out of that. But I applied anyway, and someone took a chance on me. Her eyes were bright. I'm saving for college now. My daughter asks me every day what I learned at work. I just wanted you to know what this means. Liam shook her hand. What's your name? Jessica. Keep at it, Jessica. You're going to do great things. She walked away, and Liam felt something settle in his chest. This was why it mattered. Not the title or the salary or the press coverage. This, giving someone else the same shot he'd gotten. That night, he picked Noah up from Mrs. Chen's. His son was 8 now, tall and gangly, losing his baby face, but still holding on to Spike like his life depended on it. How was school? Good. We learned about entrepreneurs, people who start businesses. Noah looked up at him. Are you an entrepreneur? Not exactly. I run a company, but I didn't start it. But you made it better, right? That's what Mrs. Chen said. I tried to. Then you're kind of an entrepreneur. Noah's logic was unshakable. Can I be one when I grow up? You can be anything you want. I want to be like you. Liam had to swallow hard. You're already better than me, buddy. They walked home together, Noah chattering about his day, Liam listening to every word. The city moved around them, cars and noise and endless motion, but for this moment, it was just the two of them. When they got home, Noah ran ahead to unlock the door. Liam stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up at the building. It was still old, still smelled like fried onions in the hallway. But the apartment was warm now. The fridge was full. The bills were paid months in advance. They'd made it. Not because life had suddenly become easy or because all the problems had disappeared, but because Liam had made a choice in a parking lot at 4:47 in the morning, and he'd kept making that same choice every day since. The choice to show up, to do the work, to be honest even when it cost him, to be the kind of father, the kind of leader, the kind of person that Noah could be proud of. And in the end, that was the only success that mattered. Inside, Noah was already pulling out his homework. Liam made dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta and vegetables, and they ate together at the small kitchen table. Later, they read books on the couch until Noah fell asleep against his shoulder. Liam carried him to bed, tucked him in, kissed his forehead. "Love you, buddy," he whispered. "Love you too, Daddy," Noah mumbled, already half dreaming. Liam stood in the doorway for a moment, watching his son sleep. Then he went back to the living room, made a cup of tea, and sat by the window. The city glittered below, full of people making their own choices, fighting their own battles, trying to build their own futures. He thought about Ava, now thriving in her new role, still texting him occasionally with advice or encouragement. He thought about the team at Bennett Global, the people whose lives had changed because someone gave them a shot. He thought about the woman at the awards ceremony, saving for college, building something better for her daughter. He thought about the note on the windshield, the moment that had changed everything. And he realized something he'd never quite put into words before. The parking lot hadn't been the beginning of his success. It had been the beginning of him understanding what success actually meant. Not wealth or status or climbing some corporate ladder. Success was being able to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize the person looking back. It was making choices you could explain to your kid without flinching. It was building something that mattered to someone other than yourself. It was choosing, over and over again, to be the person you'd needed when you had nothing. Liam finished his tea and set the cup down. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, board meetings, budget reviews, decisions that would affect hundreds of people. But tonight, sitting in his warm apartment with his son asleep in the next room, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because he'd earned it. One honest choice at a time. The announcement went out on a Tuesday morning. Jonathan Garrett terminated effective immediately. Criminal investigation pending. The email was brief, clinical, the kind of corporate language designed to reveal nothing while saying everything. Liam was in his office when it hit the company-wide inbox. He watched his screen, waiting for the fallout. It came in waves. First, stunned silence across the floor, then hushed conversations. Then his phone started ringing. Denise appeared in his doorway. "Ava wants you upstairs. Now." The executive floor felt different that morning. People moved faster, spoke in lower voices. Liam passed 3 offices being packed up, Garrett's allies, presumably, choosing to resign before they were pushed. He knocked on Ava's door. "Come in." She was standing by the window, arms crossed, watching the city below. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "The board accepted the audit findings," she said without turning. "Garrett's out. The DA's office is reviewing our evidence. They think they have enough for criminal charges." "That's good." "Is it?" Ava finally turned to face him. Her eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted. 3 board members resigned this morning. 2 of our biggest clients are reassessing the relationship. Our stock dropped 8% before trading was halted. And Garrett's lawyer is already making noise about wrongful termination and defamation. Liam felt his stomach drop. "He's suing?" "He's threatening to, which means discovery, depositions, months of legal warfare. And his primary target is you." She picked up a document from her desk, handed it to Liam. "His lawyer sent this an hour ago. Notice of intent to pursue civil action against you personally for libel, tortious interference, and conspiracy to commit fraud." The words blurred on the page. "He's accusing me of fraud? He's throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. None of it will hold up. You have documentation, the audit backs you up. But fighting it will be expensive and brutal. He wants to destroy you financially, even if he can't win legally." Liam sat down before his legs gave out. "So what do I do?" "You let our legal team handle it. The company will cover your defense costs. You are acting in your capacity as an employee following my instructions." "But Liam," Ava's voice softened, "this is going to get ugly. Garrett has money and connections and nothing left to lose. He's going to drag this out, make it as painful as possible. You need to be prepared for that." "I thought doing the right thing mattered." "It does. But it doesn't mean people won't punish you for it." She walked back to the window. "There's something else. The board wants to promote you to Director of Operations, VP level position. Substantial raise, your own team, real authority. They want to send a message that integrity gets rewarded here." Liam stared at her. "You're offering me a promotion while Garrett's threatening to sue me?" "I'm offering you a promotion because you earned it. And because if we don't show that standing up costs less than staying silent, everyone else will learn the wrong lesson." Ava looked at him steadily. "But I won't sugarcoat it. Taking this promotion makes you even more of a target. People will say you brought down Garrett to advance your career. They'll question every decision you make, test you constantly, wait for you to fail so they can prove you didn't deserve it. Why would I want this? Because you believe Bennett Global can be better than it is. Because you want to build something that matters. And because walking away now tells Noah that standing up isn't worth the cost." She paused. "What do you want me to tell the board?" Liam thought about his son. about the trust in Noah's eyes when he said, "You always do good, Daddy," about the man he needed to be to deserve that trust. Tell them I'll take it. The promotion was announced the following Monday. The reaction was swift and predictable. Congratulations that felt hollow. Smiles that didn't reach eyes. And almost immediately, the whispers started. He only got it because Ava likes him. He brought down Garrett to clear his path. He's in over his head. Michelle Torres sent a company-wide email about maintaining professional standards during transitions that everyone understood was directed at him. David Simmons requested a transfer to a different division within hours. And Marcus Reed, the analyst who'd wanted Liam's old position, started making mistakes just large enough to cause problems but small enough to claim incompetence rather than sabotage. Liam's new office was on the 16th floor, twice the size of his previous space, with furniture that looked like it belonged in a magazine spread. His assistant Denise moved with him, setting up his calendar with military precision and teaching him which battles to fight and which to ignore. "You're going to need thicker skin," she said, his second day. "People are going to test you constantly." "I've noticed." She handed him a stack of personnel files. "These are your direct reports. 3 excellent, 2 mediocre, 1 actively undermining you." "Which one?" "Marcus Reed. He thought he was next in line for promotion. Now he's reporting to someone who's been here less than a year." Denise raised an eyebrow. "He's going to make your life difficult until you address it." She was right. Marcus was professionally hostile. Reports always late, data always slightly wrong, tone always just shy of insubordination. When Liam confronted him about a missed deadline, Marcus leaned back in his chair with a cold smile. "Some of us are busy managing multiple complex projects. Not everyone has time to micromanage every detail." "Then delegate. That's what your team is for." "My team is overworked covering for mistakes made by people who don't understand how things work here." The implied criticism was clear. "No offense," Liam kept his voice level. "I need that report by end of day, not a request." Marcus left without responding, and Liam knew this was just beginning. But there were bright spots. The 3 analysts Denise had flagged as excellent actually were hungry, talented people who'd been held back by the old guard's politics. Liam gave them room to work, credited their ideas publicly, and watched them flourish. Within a month, his division's output started exceeding projections. The Garrison deal became his proving ground. When Arthur Garrison's CEO expressed concerns about Bennett Global's internal controls after the Garrett scandal, Liam and Ava flew to New York for a face-to-face meeting. Liam had been terrified, convinced his lack of pedigree would doom the deal. Instead, Garrison had laughed when Liam explained how he'd ended up at Bennett Global. "Best origin story I've heard in 20 years. You've got guts, kid." They'd closed the $42 million contract. On the train back, Ava had said something Liam would remember forever. "Don't let this place change you. I've seen too many good people lose themselves once they get power. Stay decent." 6 months into his role as director of operations, Liam got the call from Emma. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "I want to see Noah," she said after the awkward greeting. "I made a mistake. I want to be part of his life." The anger rose hot and immediate. "You don't get to decide that. He's my son. You gave up that right when you left." Liam's hand was shaking. "He doesn't even remember you. When he talks about family, it's me and Mrs. Chen. You're not in that picture." "Then let me be." Her voice cracked. "Please." Every instinct screamed to say no. But he thought about Noah, about what kind of man he wanted his son to see him as. Someone who held grudges, or someone who gave people chances to be better? "I'll think about it," he said finally. "Supervised visits only. And if I think it's hurting him, it stops immediately." 3 weeks later, they met at a park. Emma brought a stuffed dinosaur. She'd remembered Noah loved dinosaurs, and sat nervously on a bench while Liam and Mrs. Chen watched from nearby. Noah was cautious at first, but he talked, told her about school, about his friends, about the aquarium trip with his dad. After 30 minutes, Noah walked back to Liam. "Can we go home now?" "Of course." "Say goodbye." "Bye." Noah waved without much emotion. In the car, Liam asked how it went. "She's okay, but she's not my mom. Not a real mom." "What's a real mom?" "Someone who stays." Noah looked at him with those serious dark eyes. "You stayed, Daddy." Liam had to pull over because tears were blurring his vision. He climbed into the back seat and hugged his son until Noah squirmed. "You're the best kid I know," Liam whispered. "I know. Mrs. Chen tells me that every day." At work, things continued shifting. Ava was promoted to CEO after the previous CEO resigned under pressure from the board. Her first major decision was offering Liam the COO position. "I've been testing you since the day you walked in here," she said in her office. "The rejected reports, the Garrett investigation, the Garrison meeting, all tests. I needed someone I could trust completely, someone whose integrity wasn't for sale." Liam had stared at her, overwhelmed. "I've been here less than a year. You have something better than experience. You have principles, and the ability to make other people want to be better." She extended her hand. "Help me fix this company. Be my COO." He'd taken the job knowing it would make him an even bigger target, and it did. The first year as COO was brutal. Former Garrett allies undermined him at every turn. Marcus Reed eventually transferred out, but not before spreading rumors that Liam had fabricated evidence. Someone leaked internal memos to business blogs claiming Bennett Global's reforms were performative rather than substantive. Liam wanted to fight back, defend himself, set the record straight. Instead, he followed Denise's advice, kept his head down, and let the work speak. He rebuilt the operations division, hiring overlooked talent from non-traditional backgrounds. A recent graduate from a state school. A single mom transitioning from retail. A middle-aged guy who'd been laid off twice. People who were hungry and grateful for a shot. His team started delivering results the previous team never had. Efficiency up, costs down. Client satisfaction climbing. The rumors didn't stop, but they mattered less as the numbers proved themselves. When Stoltz's investment firm committed $18 million in funding after grilling Liam about his background, Ava had texted him, "See? Honesty works." But honesty also made enemies, and some battles couldn't be won with spreadsheets. The lawsuit from Garrett dragged on for 8 months before being dismissed with prejudice. The judge had been scathing in his ruling, calling Garrett's claims frivolous and vindictive. But those 8 months had cost Liam sleep, peace of mind, and countless hours in depositions. Garrett had wanted to punish him, and in some ways, he'd succeeded. The day the lawsuit was dismissed, Liam picked Noah up early from school and took him to get ice cream. They sat on a bench watching people walk by, Noah chattering about his day while chocolate dripped down his cone. "Daddy, are we rich now?" Noah asked suddenly. Liam laughed. "What makes you ask that?" "You bought me ice cream without checking your phone to see if we have money." The observation hit Liam hard. He hadn't realized Noah had noticed those anxious moments, the constant mental calculations of whether they could afford small pleasures. "We're doing okay, buddy. Better than before." "Good." Noah licked his cone thoughtfully. "Mrs. Chen says you're a good man, that not everyone would do what you do." "What does that mean?" "She says you do the right thing even when it's hard." "Is that true?" Liam thought about the parking lot, the note, the investigation that had nearly destroyed him. "I try, buddy. I don't always succeed, but I try." Noah nodded, like that made perfect sense. "I think you do good." A year after becoming COO, Ava announced she was leaving to join a venture capital firm. The board wanted Liam to take over as CEO. "I can't do this without you," he'd told her. "Yes, you can. You've been running half this company already." Ava had looked at him with something like pride. "The board trusts you, the employees trust you. More importantly, you trust yourself now. That's what changed." His first move as CEO was establishing a scholarship fund for employees' children funded by executive bonuses. His second was implementing a mentorship program pairing senior staff with non-traditional hires. His third was restructuring compensation to close the gap between entry-level and executive pay. 2 board members resigned. Several senior VPs left for competitors. But the company's culture shifted in ways that transcended quarterly earnings. Turnover dropped. Satisfaction scores hit record highs. And profitability kept climbing. On Noah's 7th birthday, Liam took the entire day off. First time in 6 months. They went to the Science Museum, ate pizza, played laser tag with Noah's friends. Mrs. Chen organized the party, refusing payment like always. That night, after everyone left and Noah was asleep, Liam sat on the couch, looking through photos on his phone. Noah blowing out candles, Noah laughing with his friends, Noah hugging Liam so tight his small arms shook. His phone buzzed. Ava, how was the party? Perfect. Thank you for asking. You deserve it, both of you. Liam set the phone down and closed his eyes. He thought about all the choices that had led here. The note on the windshield, the decision to investigate Garrett, the promotions he'd accepted despite feeling unqualified. None of it had been easy or perfect, but all of it had been worth it. Because success wasn't about never being afraid or never doubting yourself. It was about showing up anyway, about choosing integrity when it cost you, about being the person your kid believed you were, even when you weren't sure you could live up to it. A year later, Bennett Global was named one of the top companies to work for in the country. Liam gave the acceptance speech at a downtown awards ceremony, keeping it short and honest. A few years ago, I was working nights at a warehouse, barely surviving. I didn't have a degree or connections. What I had was a choice: walk away from a mistake or take responsibility. He paused, scanning the crowd. That choice led here. Not because I'm special, but because someone saw past my resume and gave me a shot. Then I tried to do the same for others. That's all this is. A company full of people who got a chance and made the most of it. Afterward, a young woman approached him, barely 22, nervous but determined. Mr. Carter, I wanted to thank you. I got hired through your mentorship program last year. I was a high school dropout with a kid, working 3 jobs. I thought I'd never escape that cycle, but I applied anyway, and someone took a chance on me. Her eyes were bright. I'm saving for college now. My daughter asks what I learned at work every day. I wanted you to know what this means. Liam shook her hand, throat tight. What's your name? Jessica. Keep going, Jessica. You're going to do great things. She walked away and Liam felt something settle in his chest. This was why it mattered, not the title or salary or recognition. This, giving someone else the shot he'd gotten. That night, picking Noah up from Mrs. Chen's, he found his son had grown tall and gangly at 8, losing his baby face but still clutching Spike like his life depended on it. How was school? Good. We learned about entrepreneurs, people who start businesses. Noah looked up. Are you an entrepreneur? Not exactly. I run a company, but didn't start it. But you made it better, right? Mrs. Chen said so. I tried. Then you're kind of an entrepreneur. Noah's logic was unshakable. Can I be one when I grow up? You can be anything you want. I want to be like you. Liam had to swallow hard. You're already better than me. They walked home through the cooling evening, Noah chattering about his day while Liam listened to every word. When they reached their building, still old, still smelling faintly of fried onions, Liam stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up. The apartment was warm now. The fridge stayed full. Bills were paid months ahead. They'd made it. Not because life became easy or problems disappeared, but because Liam had made a choice in a parking lot at 4:47 in the morning, and he'd kept making that same choice every day since. The choice to show up, to do the work, to be honest when it cost him, to be the kind of father and leader Noah could be proud of. Inside, Noah pulled out homework while Liam made dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and vegetables. They ate together at the small kitchen table, then read books on the couch until Noah dozed off against his shoulder. Liam carried him to bed, tucked him in, kissed his forehead. Love you, buddy, he whispered. Love you too, Daddy, Noah mumbled, half asleep. Liam stood in the doorway watching his son breathe, then returned to the living room. He made tea and sat by the window looking out at the glittering city. Thousands of people making their own choices, fighting their own battles, building their own futures. He thought about Ava, thriving in her new role, still texting occasionally with advice. About the team at Bennett Global, the lives that changed because someone gave them a shot. About Jessica at the award ceremony, saving for college, building something better for her daughter. He thought about the note on the windshield, the moment that changed everything. And he realized the parking lot hadn't been the beginning of success. It had been the beginning of understanding what success meant. Not wealth or status or climbing ladders. Success was looking in the mirror and recognizing the person staring back. Making choices you could explain to your kid without flinching. Building something that mattered beyond yourself. It was choosing over and over to be the person you needed when you had nothing. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, board meetings, budget reviews, decisions affecting hundreds of people. But tonight, sitting in his warm apartment with Noah asleep in the next room, Liam felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because he'd earned it, one honest choice at a time. He finished his tea and stood, stretching tired muscles. Through the window, the city hummed with life. Car horns, distant sirens, the rhythmic pulse of millions of people trying to make it through another day. Somewhere out there, someone else was standing at a crossroads, deciding who they wanted to be. Liam hoped they'd choose the harder path, the honest one, the one that cost them sleep and tested their resolve and made them question everything. Because that path, as brutal as it was, led somewhere real. He checked on Noah one more time, still sleeping soundly, spike tucked under his chin, then climbed into his own bed for the first time before midnight in weeks. As sleep pulled him under, his last thought was of his father, Frank Carter, who taught him that some lines you can't uncross, some choices you can't take back. You pick money over doing right enough times, Frank had said. You wake up one day and don't recognize the man in the mirror. Liam understood now. And when he looked in the mirror these days, he recognized the man staring back just fine. That man had made mistakes, had stumbled and doubted and nearly given up more times than he could count. But when it mattered most, when the easy path was right there in front of him, he'd chosen the hard one instead. He'd chosen to be the man his son believed he was. And in the end, that was the only choice that mattered.